massive Rose Bowl game.
Live from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, this is the Barry Alvarez Show on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
What are your emotions right now? Just like the old days.
Alongside Rose Bowl champions Derek Engler and Tarek Saleh, here's Jesse Nelson.
The Barry Alvarez Show, 100.5 ESPN Madison, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Live from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton, alongside Rose Bowl champion Derek Engler and the legend Barry Alvarez. My name is Jesse Nelson. Thanks so much for joining us. Whether it's your first time tuning into the show, welcome. And whether you're one of our regulars returning week after week to hear what Barry Alvarez has to say about all things Wisconsin athletics, we're looking forward to having you and spending the next hour talking about the Wisconsin Badgers. Plenty to discuss after the loss to the Maryland Terrapins Saturday afternoon at Camp Randall Stadium. Final score 27-10. The Badgers now 2-2 on the season. 15-15 in 2 1/3 seasons under the leadership of head coach Luke Fickell. Lots to talk about over the next hour. A couple of housekeeping things, guys, before we really dive into everything here. So first of all, no Tarek Saleh with us here on site at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton this week. Family matter, he's out east. He does plan to join us a little bit later in the show,
right.
But we hope everything's going well. He cares a lot about this show. He also cares a lot about his family, so wishing everyone there well, and we look forward to hearing from Tarek here pretty soon. Second thing, we're going to talk about a lot of different things tonight, and I hope everybody watching on YouTube or on our social media platforms, listening to us wherever you are, know that any conversation that we're having about the state of Wisconsin football and Wisconsin athletics tonight comes from a place of passion. Everyone here cares deeply about the success of the Wisconsin Badgers, football and every other athletic program. And as someone who grew up in this state and really bleeds it and enjoys when this town is electric on a game day, and all year round there's pride everywhere, all the way up to the legendary former coach and director of athletics with multiple national championships under his leadership as a director of athletics, 3 Rose Bowl championships. Everything that we're going to say here tonight comes from a place of love and support for this athletic department and for this football program. And that being said, let's dive into it. 27-10, the final score on Saturday afternoon. Coach, what was your biggest takeaway from the game?
Well, you know what? Going into the game, I thought it was an even game. I thought maybe we had an edge, particularly playing at home. Disappointed, obviously, with the outcome. I did not think that team was that much better than us, but they played better. And I just disappointed. But in the same respect, anybody that's ever been in that business, it's happened to. And now it's the coach's responsibility and the player's responsibility to bounce back. And that game's behind us now. Get some things, go through it, see the mistakes that were made, and make sure that those things are corrected so that you can move forward and get better throughout the season. Take whatever you can from that, and then make sure that you improve on the mistakes.
Derek?
Well, I agree with Coach. I talked to, our former GM, Ken Rovak, who's out in Terps country, and he's talked to a lot of them, and he's watched every game, and he said, Derek, I got to tell you, I was shocked, as everybody else was, because we're not, when talking about Maryland, we're not a very good football team. Squeaker against Northern Illinois, so on. So everybody, Badger Nation, expected not easy, because nothing easy, but a victory. And the biggest disappointment for me was that the lack, if anybody that watched that game in every facet, we were unprepared. In every facet. And to me, undisciplined in a lot of areas. Just look at the special teams tape. That says it all. That's a huge disappointment, and I'm sure it is to Coach Fickell and the staff. And thank God for a bye week. To Coach's point, you have an extra week because you got to rally your troops and those kids like no other. That was a big-time game going into the meat of the schedule and some of the opponents we're facing. And that was a win that we should have come away with, and we didn't. And like I said, it was a huge disappointment.
Coach, if this was you going into the bye week, how would you approach things here?
I'm glad you asked that, because bye weeks can be very tough, and particularly after a loss. I know some coaches would have their guys out there the next day, and they'd basically wear them out that next week when they don't have a game. It's almost like punishment because you didn't play well, and that's a coach taking out frustration. That's the worst thing I think you can do. So I think at this time of year, you got a lot of season left. What I would do, I'd give them a little time off, and then I'd sit down with my staff and really break down where we need to improve, where we were making mistakes, where we broke down, and what we have to emphasize to get better. And whether it be just this week working on those things and then start next week for your game preparation for the next game, or do you start the next game? I would work on fundamentals and improvement the rest of this week.
Derek, how did you as a player utilize bye weeks?
Well, back then we didn't have very many that I can remember, but I know we had one or two. But the coach was smart about it. It was a time to recuperate your bodies, get mentally stronger. Depending on what season you're talking about, and we were talking earlier today, Tarek and I, and we were on a team in 1995. And Coach remembers it too because, we had a losing record and we didn't go to a bowl game. It was an up and down season. We had 2 ties. We lost, I think, 3 guys in the NFL up front in the offensive line, Verstegen, Rudy, and Raymer, I believe. And we had a bunch of inexperience, but, Chili and Hughes came up with this bright idea we were like a wrestling team where we had reporting weights, and none of us could be at 300 pounds. Just our right tackle, Jerry Wunsch, could be 305. So we'd have to report our weight because we're going to be like the Denver Broncos. We're going to pull. We're going to do this and that. And, we got our asses kicked up front. But that being said, we competed because we also went out to Happy Valley and ended the longest winning streak in college football that year. So it was up and down. But, Coach, not going to a bowl game after 2 years prior winning the Rose Bowl, that offseason, I mean, you knew the focus was there. And all of a sudden, the next year we have like the biggest offensive line in college or pros, I think, average weight and stuff like that. So the bye week was really important, getting us mentally ready, physically, getting our bodies recuperated, and went about it. He wasn't beating us up. Now, I will tell you, the bye week, though, also the young guys got a lot of repetitions. That's really important, too. So
yeah, this is a time when you can get experience for your young players. You can emphasize, the coaches can spend more time with the young guys, your freshmen or your redshirt players, because you're not preparing for a game. And during game week, you don't have a lot of time with them. They're running a scout team. You're not correcting them in individual work and spending that time. So your emphasis is back on them and development of young players. So you're thinking about the future of your program. You're giving your veterans time off, yet keeping them sharp. And then after a few days, then you start getting ready for the next game.
So I've heard a lot of reflection back to that 1994 season that Derek was just
95.
Or 95, I'm sorry, the 95 season, the 4-5-2 season, coming off the 2 bowl games back-to-back. Barry Alvarez, Derek Engler, Jesse Nelson, the Barry Alvarez Show here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton.
Poor Bev, man. He took some hits that year.
So this week, Coach, I mean, that season seems to be kind of what people are referring to now as they think about where the state of things kind of is. How did you work to get things back on track for the success in the years to come?
Well, we weren't that far off. We were right there. You tie 2 games. You play every other game is a tough game to the wire.
Go out to Happy Valley, and, they were a top 5 team, I believe.
Top 5 team,
yeah.
Longest winning streak in the country, and knocked them off. So we were right there. We just let some games slip away. And so it was nothing drastic. It's just emphasis on what we do and getting better. It's not a panic by any stretch of the imagination or getting after your players any harder than you ever did. We had a good system in place, and we just wanted to continue, and we knew we'd get better.
What's the goal for the rest of this season? 2-2 here entering the bye week, 8 games to play.
You got a lot to play for. You're playing for a bowl game. You're still playing for a league championship. But more than anything, you're playing to win the next game. That's your goal. Win the next game. Then next week it's that game. You don't need to get any further than that. You set goals in the early season, what you want to do for the season. That's out the window. Now it's week to week. That's the way I approached it.
Derek, what do you think the goal is for the rest of this season?
Well, I mean, I would start with if I'm Coach Fickell. I mean, I'm making sure I'm looking around in that locker room. Well, first of all, I'm looking around at my staff and holding every one of them accountable because, like I started the show with, there was an apparent lack of discipline, and that's the head coach's responsibility to get on every position coach, and then also to pay attention because especially in this day and age with the transfer portal, we got a bunch of new faces in here that just got here this year. There was a reason they left whatever school they were at. Have they checked out? Find out who's checked out would be that and I don't know anything about coaching, but I was coached by a great one, so I would imagine he'd probably be doing that.
Well, that's your assistant coach's responsibility.
Yeah.
The assistant coaches are responsible for their covey. That group in their meeting room, those are their children. They need to know everything about them. They need to know about their families. They need to know where they're living. They need to know what their classes are. If they missed a class, they need to know everything about them, how to motivate them, and they got to be on top of them. And you got to make sure that everything's in order. And that's you go around the table to every coach, and you make sure each guy sits there and reports to you.
And so along those lines, what can the Badgers do the rest of this season, not just to win each week, to win each game, but to set the stage for 2026 and beyond? Or do you not even think about that?
Yeah, well, you got to worry about next week.
Yeah.
I'm not worrying about 25, 26 or whatever. You worry about next week. Hell, or tomorrow. You worry about going to school tomorrow.
I mean, it is literally Michigan, and that's it. And you got 2 weeks for them. That's it. You got to find a way to go. They're not world beaters. I mean, are you kidding me? They had a tough one against Nebraska. He's got to get those kids right mentally, and make sure they're still buying in. That's so important right now after a loss like that.
Go ahead, Coach.
The one thing we've always been able to do, we've always been able to match up in the offensive and defensive line, particularly the offensive line. If you can match up there, you can move the ball, you can run the ball. I don't see us hanging our hat on that much anymore, but that's what we used to do. That's something that you can shorten the game. You can always be in a game, and I'm not sure. That's what we would do. That's what I would do. I would sharpen our game up, and I'd prepare like I always prepared. We always play. I used to look forward. Our guys used to love playing Michigan because they're not going to try to trick you. They're going to play. They're going to play, and they're going to do what they do. So you prepare for them, and then you go out there and try to be tougher than they are. Try to be better up front.
Yeah, you got to give these young bucks a chance. I know I talked to you guys both about this. And these two plays eerily just stood out to me because, we pop off twice on first down 7-yard runs. We got young freshmen up front, right? 7 yards, good. 3 yards, okay, we just give them a little confidence. Go after it again. Instead, we're in Wildcat with a center that has snapping issues. That's a huge loss. Then next, identical 7-yard run, 2nd and 3. Here I don't even know, it was I don't know. It was like a jet sweep, pitch back to Davis. He runs backwards. It was out of field goal range.
Flicker kind of thing.
It was, and it was 2nd and 3. Give those young offensive linemen. Let them bloody their nose. Let them get some baptism going and get in the groove. That's what offensive line play is. Not you don't give them a chance if you're doing, all getting cute and all these trick plays and you got normal down and distance. Let them move the chains. Tire the defense out.
I know one thing. And we run the ball on the first down and get 7, I'll guarantee you what second down's going to be.
That's what I was thinking.
And maybe third, and maybe the next first down until they
slow
you down.
I'm like, all right, here we go.
We don't have to get
pound it. I'm yelling at TV, and then I watch that. I'm like, what just happened? It was shocking to me.
There's no one that says that you have to do certain things, and it's exciting to throw the ball. If you're running and you're gashing somebody, and you realize the more you do that and the more you keep having success, the more you demoralize the defense that you're playing, and the stronger you're going to get.
No question.
I can remember an old high school coach telling Lou Holtz and I were in Deerfield High School, and a guy named Paul Adams, great coach, won it all the time, rarely threw the ball. And Lou said, "Do you have any advice?" He said, "Yeah, don't get bored running it." and Lou says, "Ooh, I like that." And I know Lou never got bored running it after that.
Plenty more to come. Dissecting Wisconsin's 27-10 loss to Maryland Saturday at Camp Randall Stadium at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. It's the Barry Alvarez Show on ESPN Madison.
Don't touch that cocktail.
I'd love to coach a game like that.
Oh, man.
They may not see a pass in the second half. I'd run that clock. That game would be over. We'd be home having cocktails at 3:30.
Coach will be back after this on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
One reason so many local organizations choose document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems? The people. Amanda Burrian, office manager at Covenant Lutheran Church.
One of the main things that has always been absolutely outstanding to me is the customer service rep that comes out and helps with the technical stuff. He is absolutely wonderful.
James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed business technology company. And that translates into better support, better service.
Fast, efficient, they're dedicated, and they're willing to be there when you need them. So it's wonderful service.
Amanda, James Imaging Systems, more like a vendor or more like a partner?
Like a partner.
And your overall business experience with James?
That feels more like a partnership as well.
James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation. Call 608-221-3457. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on social media for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Striving for excellence is exactly what we do.
Our suite of master craftsmen ensure every roof we install will last.
We believe in giving you exceptional results.
And the satisfaction and durability you want with your suite of metal roof.
I'm Mike.
And Mary Sweta. Enjoy the long-lasting architectural strength and beauty of a Sweta metal roof.
SWITA metalroofing.com.
Sweta Metal Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, it's Isaac Miller, junior defensive end in high school. 14 Division I offers. Yep, 1-4. Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, Miami, you name it. Everyone's asking, where's Isaac going? Well, I'll tell you this. It's going to be big, it's going to be loud, and it's going to be legendary. But first, I'm hitting the weight room in my Iron Jock gear. Because no matter what logo I wear next, Iron Jock is how I get there. Stay tuned and go to ironjock.com. That's ironjoc.com.
Immediate live show streaming. A homepage customized just for you. The brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Your state, your teams, your ESPN.
If you're just doing this because you're starting to not believe the Packers are going to bring in a number one wide receiver.
The ESPN Wisconsin app. Everything in the palm of your hand.
Who are the top guys?
And Dobbs.
That is the problem.
No, I totally agree.
You have never called Xavier McKinney the wrong name.
Available in the Apple and Android App Store. Download the ESPN Wisconsin app today.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. the better tasting, more refreshing zero sugar cola. Listen to that endless pour. Pure refreshment. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. Oh yeah, so good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Liberty Station American Tavern and Smokehouse isn't just a barbecue restaurant. Open daily for lunch and dinner, Liberty Station serves American comfort food with regional touches using many locally sourced ingredients. The bar at Liberty Station offers vintage cocktails created in a classic style, local craft beers, plus a wide array of wine options. And be sure to check out their sprawling patio with an indoor and outdoor porch area. Liberty Station, conveniently located just off the Beltline on Rimrock Road.
Greg Scalzi here for Total Athlete Performance. They're here to provide elite performance training for serious athletes in the Madison area. And there's a new Verona TAP facility open inside of the Verona Athletic Center. Summer speed, agility, and semi-private options are now available at both Verona and Windsor locations, and now offering monthly subscription payment options. Plus, you can download the new Total Athlete Performance app for remote training options all year round. Visit tapwisconsin.com. That's tapwisconsin.com.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
The Barry Alvarez Show at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel alongside Rose Bowl champion Tarek Engler and the legend Barry Alvarez. My name is Jesse Nelson. No Tarek Saleh this week, except for the next segment. He's going to join us remotely as he's out east with some family for the weekend. 844-770-3776, the Carbless ESPN Wisconsin talk and text line. This is more. We are at the outstanding Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton in Coach's Room here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. And when you want a night out that really sizzles, head here to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton, whether it's just a special occasion date night or because you deserve it. Ruth's Chris is serving up USDA prime steaks cooked to perfection. Pair it with world-class wines, handcrafted cocktails, that warm, welcome service that makes every visit unforgettable. Make tonight special at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. The Wisconsin Badgers fall 27-10 on Saturday afternoon at Camp Randall Stadium. The team is now 2-2 on the season. As we now look ahead to what's to come, so the bye week is here now for Wisconsin, and then they will resume play on the road in the Big House against the Michigan Wolverines. Tarek, I've heard you and many other former players talk before. The Big House is a place that you can go and win football games. The crowd doesn't necessarily impact how you perform in that game.
Yeah, I mean, we did it in, I think it was 94. They had a good team. A future teammate of mine with the New York Giants, Monty Toomer, was on that team, and and Coach had prepared us, because of just the layout of the stadium. It's not loud. It's not, even though it's 100,000+ in attendance. They sit on their hands. They're spoiled to this, that, and they had zero effect on the game. And we were coming off. We had some adversity going, and it really was. And Joe Rudolph and Darrell Bevel and some of those guys, some of the leaders of the team, really, we rallied as a team. It was really us against, and we whooped their ass. I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun to be a part of that, and to go in there and take down Michigan. That's always fun.
The stadium, if you look at it, it's the same base as South Bend, as Notre Dame Stadium. And then they added to it to take it up over 100,000. But if you look at it, even though it's not that close, not like Notre Dame, and particularly not like Iowa. Iowa's people can touch you almost, from the first row. They can touch the guys on the bench.
Yeah.
and their stadium goes up, and the noise stays in it. Michigan flattens out, and even the 106,000, it doesn't affect the game. The noise does not affect the game, and you have to prepare your guys for that. And I always felt it was an easy place to play. I convinced my players it was an easy place to play, except for the guys that you have to play against.
Pretty much.
Wisconsin and Michigan announced today an 11 a.m. kickoff coming up for the Badgers' next game. Not this weekend, the one to follow. They have a bye this week. So talking about the fans in Ann Arbor, let's talk a little bit about the fans in Madison this weekend. There were some chants. I heard them. If you were at the game, you heard them. I know the head coach heard them. He was asked about them in his post-game press conference on Saturday.
Everybody heard them, Jesse.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, those are 19-year-old kids, and they live in a satisfaction now generation and, whatever. I mean, that you put a performance like that on the field, and 19-year-olds are going to say stupid things. I mean, we're 4 games in, Coach Fickell has a chance, especially with a bye week, like I said earlier, to really rally his guys now more than ever. And he can do that because, this is a team that's supposed to be better than what we put out last year, and despite not going to a bowl. We were within a field goal of Oregon. We're beating Penn State in the third quarter. We just didn't have the depth, especially up front defensively. Apparently, we're supposed to. What happened Saturday, there's no pressure on that young kid, Malik Washington. Guys, you couldn't – and it started early with special teams, but everybody went in the tank. And that's what he's got to correct.
Coach, what do you make of how fans have reacted here
I think it's embarrassing. I think it's terrible, despicable. They're spoiled rotten. Here's a team that you got young players trying to come on and are competing. They're going to have a chance to get better, and you flip on them. They're early in the season, and you flip on them, and you're chanting for the coach. What do you think that makes? How do you think that makes the players feel?
Exactly.
And
that's a great point, Coach.
That's disrespectful. It's not loyal. You're not a fan. If I'm a person sitting next to me, boom, I tell them, get your ass out of here. We don't need you in here. You don't want to watch this? Go someplace else. Go boo in a bar. That really upsets me.
It's funny you bring that up, Coach, because watching it at home, I gave tickets to family, had a lot of stuff going on, and I felt that, as a former player. All I thought about was those kids going through that tunnel. How do you come out of halftime after hearing that mentally, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, that's tough.
Those are their classmates.
Right.
And you want to go play for them?
Right.
Come on, it goes both ways. Those guys are going to play hard on the field. They need support instead of booing them or chanting about your coach. How about supporting them and making it a tough home environment and help them win? That's what playing at home's supposed to be like. So I'm upset about it. It really, really bothers me. I thought we were above that.
Coach, this came up to me from a friend of mine, and I don't know the answer, and maybe you could shed some light on it. Why cannot we open the gates, all the gates up to students to enter the stadium at any gate? Because if you've ever seen the lines out there, it's a nightmare.
I'm not sure.
But
somehow something could be done. Somehow you got to figure it out better. If you get it there early, you get the good seats, pick the seats. But I don't like that. I didn't like it when they did it. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know. I never looked into it.
Yeah.
But
because you look at other college stadiums across the country, and
there are a few that do that. Not most of them.
Right, but most of them, they're packed.
You get there early.
They're ready to roll at kickoff.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to what you said prior for just a second here. The Luke Fickell hire 3 years ago was universally celebrated in Madison, across the state, really across the country. What can happen the rest of this season to recapture that optimism?
There's only one thing that'll recapture it.
Win.
It's pretty simple.
Winning
There's your
football
answer
games.
right there.
Winning football games.
You got to win.
So what's the blueprint? How do we do that?
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. You got to do all the right things. You have to have something that you hang your hat on first. And
absolutely,
you know, if we ran the ball well, I don't know if we do. I don't see us, really going after it and staying with it. So to say, let's just hammer it in there, I don't know if we can do that because we never try. But my whole thing was hang your hat on something. I always, you heard me say it a million times. We got the big palookas. We should always have a good offensive line, and we're going to knock the hell out of people up front. Give me a couple backs that can run it hard. We can hang on to the ball. We can shorten the game. We'll always keep playing a team that's 2 touchdowns better than us. We're going to keep it close and take it into the fourth quarter, and we're going to win our share of those. And did it.
And some of the young guys that were in the back of the room my senior year, Casey Raybach, center, Dave Costa, Bill Ferrario, all played in the NFL. Mac was redshirt sophomore. Those guys were all redshirt freshmen in 97. And you know what? They had their ups and downs. They had a loss, Purdue, Penn State, Michigan. Opened at Syracuse, I think, out at the Meadowlands, and that was a disaster. So they had their ups and downs, but it was really important to stay consistent, as Coach said, with what our identity is. And we're going to hit you in the mouth and we're going to run the rock. And those guys learned so much, and they were really, truly baptized, which eventually led them to back-to-back Rose Bowl championships, right? And All-Americans and everything else. That's why I brought up it's 2 plays, but they were almost identical, yard and distance, first and 10, pop up 7 twice in a row, and we get into exotics on second and third twice. That's not creating an identity. It's just not. And we got to give these young guys a shot. And to Coach's point, you got to, if you don't know where to hang your hat, what are we doing? That's really truly important. They have a shot to do that. They got an extra week, and I like what Coach Grimes is doing. I like. And I don't know if there's just a mistrust with these young offensive linemen, what have you, but still, give them a chance.
Coach, on the subject of identity, you've mentioned what you believe it should be. Do you recognize Wisconsin football?
That's what I believed in what I wanted to do. I'm not the head coach now. It's what Luke decides he wants his identity to be. I chose to, because of what I had and what I felt I could recruit, this is what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it anyhow. When I was a high school coach, I did the same thing. That's what I want to do. So, but that's Luke's choice. This is his team, his program. He has to choose what his identity and what the team's identity is.
How do you think it differs so far?
Well, I haven't seen what they want to hang their hat on. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a brand new OC. It's
early.
And I think, they're trying to find that, and it is a difficult time with the transfer portal. I'm really glad that they're getting away of the spring transfer portal. It's going to apply to grad students too. I think it's a 10-day starting January 2nd or something, unless the coach gets fired, of course. But I think that's really important too, and to navigate that and be very selective, because there's a reason, like I said, there's a kid leaving another school, and you better find out what that is and do your research, because you want guys that are going to play or love to play the game of football here and are tough-nosed, are mentally strong, that are not just going here for, a check or, it's a dangerous game to play. Because, when you grind, because I was one of those guys. I wasn't like Tarek and played right away. As a true freshman, I had to grind and went through shoulder surgery, blah, 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 grind. Finally got some opportunity when I was a junior and then senior, of course. But creating those bonds and going through that, I wouldn't do it any other way. I wouldn't do it any other way, because it made the player that I ended up being and having a chance to go play in the NFL.
The Barry Alvarez Show at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. It'll be our pleasure to be joined by our friend Tarek Saleh coming up next. Don't go anywhere. The Barry Alvarez Show on ESPN Madison.
The Barry Alvarez Show continues after this on 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The GRB Academy is baseball for the serious player. GRB Academy wants to be part of your plan to reach your potential. Utilize GRB Academy's 52,000 square foot facility, 14 batting cages, and 6,000 square foot weight room. Personal lessons at the GRB Baseball Academy are available year-round. With over 300 college players and over 150 Division I players, GRB has consistently led the way in the Midwest for college recruitment and player development. Visit their website, grbacademy.com, for more information. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
All right, grab some buds and listen up. Grilling season's here. Now we find out what we're made of. Are we going to fold under pressure and overcook the burgers? Or are we going to nail the carne asada and the brisket and pack the coolers with ice-cold Budweiser and Bud Light? Because that's the difference between winning and losing, between flipping burgers and grilling like a pro.
This summer, grill like a pro with Bud and Bud Light. Stock up today. Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser, and Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi, this is Lee, inviting you to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. We got a great happy hour every day of the week from 4 o'clock to 7, and our patio during the summer is open too. If you're getting married, special occasion, a birthday, anniversary, or even a business meeting, we've got all the accommodations right here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. You work hard and sometimes you're not sure what you want to do, where you want to spend your money. I want to encourage you to come into Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and say hello. It'd be a pleasure to meet you.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. Build a customized renter's policy with American Family Insurance so you can protect your tandem bike on the go. Thief! Oh, he is struggling with that two-seater. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Some exclusions may apply. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
It's kickoff time at Metro Florida Madison, and we're bringing the heat with unbeatable truck deals. Get the 2025 F-150 Lightning with 0% APR for 72 months, $13.89 per $1,000 borrowed, or tackle any job with the 2024 F-150 or F-150 XLT, now at 2.9 APR for 66 months, $16.41 per $1,000 borrowed. These offers end September 30th, so don't fumble your chance to save. Visit MetroFloridaMadison.com and score your next truck today.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend.
Welcome to the fantastic voyage. Marcus Johnson, the captain of this vessel.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production.
My first mate, Chris Johnson, the only father and son tandem.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week on the pod, Marcus and Chris talk to ESPN Radio's Evan Cohen. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
we're on the Badgers.
First losing season in over 20 years. You missed a bowl game. You ended the streak.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
And what do we see today? The exact same thing. Nothing has changed.
This is 100.5 ESPN.
Take your pictures down and check it out. Truth or consequence, say it aloud. Use that evidence, race it around.
The Barry Alvarez Show, live from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Jesse Nelson, Derek Engler, Barry Alvarez. Before we bring in Tarek Saleh, I did have a special request from Tanner.
Tonight.
Oh, well, yes, absolutely. Tanner, who helps us out here over at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton, one of the great guys. He's overseeing the entire operation here. Wanted to give a special shout-out to his parents, Gene and Patty, tuning in tonight, celebrating their 41st wedding anniversary.
Congratulations, Gene and Patty.
Celebrating by staying home. They couldn't even come out and see us tonight. But Gene and Patty, you should have been here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Come see your son, Tanner. Come on out. Congratulations to Gene and Patty. Let's bring in Tarek Saleh, live from the East Coast. He joins us here. Tarek, thank you. We miss you out here at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. How's everything back home?
It's going okay. Likewise, I miss you guys, and you guys sound good. I got to listen to the last segment. Appreciate you letting me in.
Wonderful. Appreciate it, Tarek. So we've covered a lot of the game on Saturday and some of the other corresponding conversations that have stemmed from it over the last 48 hours. I have a question I just want to ask all three of you guys. And Tarek, you can have first ups on this one. What do you think of the Wisconsin football program right now?
Well, the one comment I had and kind of dovetailed off the last conversation, you can't beat yourself, right? I don't know if you guys talked about it earlier, but, special teams is one of the phases we hung our hat on. And that was a struggle for me. There are 3 plays that, you have 2 block kicks, and then you run into the punt returner. And I think those things could have dictated the game a little bit more, gave us momentum, and maybe even changed, obviously the part at the end where we could have been maybe, it could have been a 20, 27, 20 or 18 or whatever. It could have been a point where we could have had a chance to come back. Having said it is early, right? And so you think about the status of the program, and we can't flinch right now to use what Coach would say. It's too long, and we're in it, man. We're in this, and we're committed, and they have to go back and do some soul searching, and it should bring your team closer together as a staff, as a team, and you point all the guns out, right? And you come together and you move forward. And so they have an opportunity. There's a lot of football left, and they've got a chance, and we got to just keep the faith.
Derek, what do you think of the Wisconsin football program right now?
Well, like I said earlier, to Tarek's point, if this doesn't give you the red ass, you shouldn't be in the locker room. So to bring the team together, you're going to see who the true leaders are. We're going to see what Joe Brunner does. We're going to see what the captains of this football team, I say captains, but we don't have any, but the leaders of this football team, do in that locker room. Because now more than ever, and they should be pissed. They should be absolutely irate. They should be irate at that student section. They should be just and literally bring it all in together. And it's us against them, everyone mentality. And to prove everybody wrong.
Coach, what do you think of the Wisconsin football program right now?
Well, I know this. Before you can beat anyone else, you have to stop beating yourself.
Yeah.
Tarek went through all the miscues in special teams alone. That alone loses a game for you. And, they're a good enough team. They have good enough talent. They do enough good things to win games, but you can't beat yourself. You make it easy for your opponent. And so they've got to clean some things up before they jump in the league and deeper and get going here. But you can't give up points in special teams and 2 block kicks, et cetera, et cetera. That's unheard of.
Tarek Saleh joining us remotely here on the Barry Alvarez Show, live from Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. A question that's come up, and there's been comparisons here because of where this program particularly is, but it's one of many across the country. Indiana, who got a big win on Saturday night over Brett Bielema and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Indiana's proven in today's college football that a program can really turn things around really quickly. Year over year, even in a season, you can really start to turn things around and kind of change the narrative on where your program is. What stands out to you guys from what Indiana, as one example, has done that can make sense for Wisconsin?
Well, Cignetti is a winner. If you follow his career, you go back to Indiana, PA. He's won. He's won.
It's like
it's a state college. It's a state college.
Yeah.
There's California, PA, Indiana, PA, Slippery Rock, and all those schools. And he won there. He's won it where he's a Pennsylvania guy. He's won wherever he's been. So he has certain things he believes in. It's fundamentals. He's going to demand toughness. He's going to demand good fundamentals. They're going to be sound in everything they do. And if you do that, you're hard to beat. And so he gets good fast. And he's not doing it by magic. They're playing good football.
So what does it take for Wisconsin to have its own version of that?
Well, if I could jump in here, I think I'll tell you, just, they have to have a reckoning here and understand that you're up against the wall. And I almost felt like there was a little bit of like, hey, we're going to go through drills and we're going to look good and we're going to be on social media. We're going to be – everybody gets these accolades and rewards and shiny objects. And at some point, there's a line in the sand and you got to compete and you got to strain and fight, and your will needs to take over in order to win. And so maybe this adversity we're going through, really brings reality and says, listen, this is it, man. We're up against the wall. We got to come together. We got to fight and compete, and you got to go out and do it. And there's nobody's going to do it for you. There's not a social media app in the world that can play 4 quarters and not beat themselves, right? You have to do it. Derek, I mean, jump in here, but it's just time to come together.
100%. We talked about this earlier. Where, Luke needs to have every one of his position coaches in those rooms with their guys and evaluating who's checked out or potentially checked out and who's in, who's still buying in, because you want to play those guys. You want those guys that are going to put that line right in the dirt and say, we're going to war, and we're going to war together. Guys, guys that just got here, left the school for whatever reason, not sure. You're going to have to figure out who they are, that coaching staff is, because you don't want them on the field. You don't want them in the locker room. That's the bottom line, because when you go through adversity like that, you're going to find out quickly, who's in and who's not.
Yeah. But you've got to clean things up. We make too many mistakes, we beat ourselves. You go back and each position coach has a responsibility to improve his players and see where they are, and to see what the mistakes they've made, and to make sure that they don't do it again. That's pretty basic, but it is basic. Again, this isn't rocket science. You got to play better than we've been playing. You can't make that many mistakes time and time again and beat yourself. So each position coach has got a responsibility to clean up his position.
We talk a lot throughout the night here, Coach, about, if you were in the shoes of the head coach, how you would have handled some of the things either Saturday or what's happened since. For a moment, let's put the shoes on of the director of athletics role that you were in for, a long period of time. Chris McIntosh met with a couple of reporters on Saturday evening after the loss and expressed his...
He called a press conference.
Yeah, he called a press conference, and he expressed his confidence in Luke Fickell leading the team here for the rest of the season. Would you have done the same thing in his situation?
I don't know if I'd have done that, but I think he felt it was the right thing. I saw his comments, what he did. I support. I think it was the right thing to do.
100%. I mean, what else is 4 games in?
Yeah, you're 4 games in, so, yeah, I have no problem with that. Whether I'd have done it, I don't know. I've never done that, but I have no problem with what he did, and it was probably the right thing.
Did you ever even consider it for anyone?
No.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed. that he got out in front of that right away because it was important, especially after, the student sections chants and everything else. I thought that was the absolute right thing to do, and, Coach and I were talking before the show, he and Coach Bielema used to do your 5-mile walks.
Wasn't quite 5 miles, but be about an hour and a half walk.
Yeah.
We'd get about a half mile in. Brett was heavy with it.
Yeah, fair.
Last question for all you guys here. So Wisconsin has a chance now. There's now a narrative at 2-2 here entering the bye week. There's a narrative on where the team is, and there's a narrative on where things are going. Who has the better chance to flip the narrative here? Is it the head coach of the football team or the director of athletics? If you're putting yourself in both of those shoes, Coach, who has a better chance to
I don't know
flip
what that means.
So
I was trying to figure that out.
What the hell are you talking about?
Fair
I'm
enough.
a football coach.
Yeah.
Talking about narrative.
So, the public narrative is, things are trending
don't worry about the public.
negatively.
You do not worry about the public. You worry about your football team and getting your football team right. You don't care about what the media says or what the public says or what they think. You get your team ready, get their mind right, and get ready to win the next game. And prepare to win the next game. And focus. Your staff has 2 weeks to get ready for that next game. You want to jump that a little bit and have your players work on them, or just fundamentals? This next week you can get a week and a half to work on your next game. That's the most important thing. Win the next game, not win over the public. The narrative.
I like when he gets after me a little. It's fun.
I was scratching my head.
Tarek, anything you want to add here before we let you go here after the loss to Maryland and where things stand here entering the bye week?
No, look, Chris McIntosh support, and that's what you do. I think as athletic director, I was never one, but he's done his job and he's there to help support Coach. And Coach, I think he knows what he needs to do. He needs to call people out and see who's in and who's in the way, and get after it. And then you get to practice every day, and you evaluate every drill, every 9-on-7, everything, and you make sure that we're not beating ourselves. And we go out there and we'll have a chance to win. And I know this means a lot to Coach Fickell, and I think you'll see it. You'll see things change. So I look forward to it.
Luke Fickell is a good football coach. He has a good staff. We have good players. We need to clean things up and get back on track. And it's amazing what a win will do. The important thing is win the next game.
Everybody gets amnesia quick.
Yeah.
All right, my last question wasn't so good, so I'm going to ask you one more before we go, Coach. Former Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy was sitting next to Chris McIntosh at the Wisconsin volleyball match at the Kohl Center yesterday. Nice win for the Badgers over 15th-ranked Florida. 12,000 plus at the Kohl Center up against a Packers game on TV. Pretty great.
That's impressive.
The Badgers fans showing out there.
I tell you what the job Kelly's done is second to none.
Incredible run that team's been on.
He's special.
They look like they're going to contend for a title this year.
Absolutely.
What'd you think when you saw Mike McCarthy sitting next to the director of athletics?
I didn't see it. I was out of town. I was watching the Dallas Cowboys play the Bears. So I didn't see the Sunday paper. I was watching my grandson play.
And by Sunday paper, he means my tweet that went pretty viral this week. Derek, what'd you think when you saw Mike McCarthy?
I just saw it today when you sent it to me. I was like, wow, okay. I wasn't sure if that was at the football game or where that was from, so I didn't really know. I didn't have anything to reference there. I don't know. It is what it is. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't have.
His daughter's a good volleyball player, so that's
Who's this?
McCarthy's.
Okay,
so
there you go.
That's kind of the connection for how he ended up there.
Are we recruiting her? Obviously, then.
I hope so.
Yeah, fantastic.
Legally, of course. I hope that's
probably down there.
Legally,
I don't know what age she is or anything. So I want to make sure we're following the rules.
Watching the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So. Great to see the former head coach in attendance. We'll leave it there. All right, that's it for this week's edition of the Barry Alvarez Show at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. Thank you for joining us. Come on out to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Fantastic spot any day of the week. It is incredible, and even you can come sit here where we are in Coach's room. Pretty fantastic that we get to do this show each and every week.
Finish our food now.
In Coach's room. Yeah, I got a steak sandwich here calling my name. Thanks to Tarek, Saleh. Thanks to our producer Riley out back in the Everlight Solar studio.
Thanks,
Tarek's still there. Bye, Tarek. appreciate
I
you
want
being
my
here with us
share.
today.
I want my share of the food tonight. You guys got to save some for me. Bring it home.
Go to the local Ruth's Chris.
Yeah,
we'll send a gift certificate.
Ruth's Chris, Connecticut. They're calling
I'll
it.
send your chicken cutlets. With
sending
your
Jesse
fresh
the.
nuts and-
Oh man.
Yeah. Don't give me. I
I had
want.
linguine
I
with
know where
clam
you're
sauce
at.
I'm gonna
tonight.
get you some schnitzel.
I had salmon. Yeah.
That's the fun we usually have on this show. All right, thanks, Tarek. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Derek.
All right,
This
guys,
has
thank
been
you.
the Barry Alvarez Show
See
on
ya. Thanks, Coach.
100.5 ESPN and the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
The biggest games,
Back-to-back state championships. Still going. Lowers his shoulder into the end zone. Touchdown, Wanakee.
the most compelling